Welcome to Building My Legacy podcast. This podcast is designed for leaders and entrepreneurs who want to leave a legacy and will provide strategies that focus upon key elements for legacy creation, determining your desired impact and its benefit, increasing your legacy's reach by engaging key stakeholders, planning, prioritizing, and executing. Here's your host, Dr. Lois Sonstega.
Welcome, everybody, to today's Building My Legacy podcast. I have with me today Flavia Leal. She comes to us from Brazil, and a true immigrant story of pulling her life together and creating a rather remarkable life and business. So I'm going to have you, Flavia, begin by sharing with the audience, how did you come to America, first of all? And how did you get into the beauty business? Because she has 4 beauty schools and then a salon of her own as well. So, Flavia, how did you come to America, and how did you get started in your career?
I was very young. I was 19, and I had a boyfriend who was coming to U.S., and my father was one of those Italian older guys who would never let his daughter leave the house without getting married. So I got married, and I came to U.S. with them. And I had my first daughter right after I got married, about a year and a half after. And I was very young. I was 20 when she was born. And so I brought my mother and my sister to live with me. I'm a family person. I love having my family around me. I did not have a good childhood. It was a lot of situation that I lived with my father. So it was an opportunity that I had to bring my mother and my sister. And now I had a family, and they were about to live with me, and I was very happy about it. So that was how and why I came to U.S.
Okay, and so your mother was living with you. You were in Boston, and at what point did you begin your beauty schools? How did you get started in that business?
Well, I always loved education. I actually went to college at 17 in Brazil, and I had to interrupt the classes because I was coming to U.S. But I always loved people. I love teaching. I love to be around people. I love to bring people up. Like wherever I go, whatever I do, I like to bring people with me to achieve, to grow. I always loved doing that. So when I first arrived here, I went to take English classes. I registered in a college. I took many other classes. I took flower classes, wedding decoration classes, and I started a small business in wedding decoration. It was just starting, and I sold the company. For me at that time, it was a company, but it was I had a few arrangements and tablecloths and all of that. I started that business. I got from my father. I was always a business person, and I always loved to start businesses and to be around people. So I started that, and I sold it. Then I discovered the real estate business, and I was like, you know what? I was 24 when I bought my first house. I fixed it, I refinanced, and then it was 2008. So I had started many things in school. I had started an aesthetics class, a nursing school. And then I found that my mother had pancreas cancer. She was my best friend. She was that person who always said, if Flavia said do it because she knows what she's doing. She believed in everything that I did. She trusted me. She was that person who was always there for me. And she was helping me with my daughter and, with the household tasks while I was at work. I was working, studying. I was working actually at least 80 hours per week. And she was always taking care of everything for me to go after my dreams and everything. So at that point, when she was diagnosed with pancreas cancer, and I heard from her doctor that she was going into a surgery and she had only 30% of chance of surviving, I was devastated. I saw, nothing made sense for me anymore. I saw myself like losing the ground. It was a very tough words that I heard from the doctor. So she went into that surgery, and I was praying to God that she would survive. And then I got a call from Brazil. She was living here with me for 10 years already. And I got a call from Brazil saying that my father passed with a stroke. He was 53. I did not expect that. I was actually, after I got married and I moved out of the country, we got much closer. And I always admired my father. And so I was able to forgive him for everything years prior. So now I had a father and I lost my father. And my mother was a chance of passing, and it was a very tough time of my life. My daughter had ADHD, so I was always being called at school, and I didn't want her to go into all of that medication because she was not doing well on the medication. So I tried to take care of her without putting her in so many, treatments that I didn't agree with at that time. I was young, I didn't know better. And so that was a very tough time. I brought my mom back home. She lived with me for 11 months after we got the diagnosis. And she passed right in my arms. It was very hard. And during that time, I let everything go away. Real estate market was going down. And so the value of my house was almost half of what I owned to the bank. I couldn't pay the mortgage. I couldn't work. I couldn't get food stamps. I tried so hard to get help from the state, I couldn't, because I had a house and my taxes from the previous year was high. So it was a very tough time taking care of her and my daughter. And I had another daughter at that time who was a newborn. And it was very tough. So after she passed in May, I was looking at everything. I had a foreclosure scheduled for a little bit over a week after I saw it on a paper. And I was like, what can I do right now in a state that I am right now? I was very depressed. I was doing really bad. I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. So I was like, my mother would not like to see me in the way that I am right now. I have to continue. I do have to continue. For myself, for her, for my kids, I do have to continue. So I asked myself, what can I do? So during the time I was home taking care of her, I was painting canvas. I painted so many canvas so I could survive, so I could keep my mental health. And that was a very good therapy for me. So at that point, after the fact, I was like, if I paint canvas, I can paint faces. So I started doing makeup for free. I was doing makeup on friends, and then I got a few clients, and then everybody wanted to have a makeup done by me. I loved doing it. It did not feel as work. So if it was a therapy for me, really, and I got paid for it. So I was like, this is a dream job. And because I love people and I love teaching, I was doing makeup and teaching at the same time. I was like, when you were at home, you do this because this is going to bring, this is going to do this and that and that. So people started hiring me to teach them how to do makeup on themselves. And in about 2 or 3 months, I was teaching a class of 60 people. And then I found that I needed a license in order to do that. So I went back to school because I had started an aesthetics course. I was invited by my sister over a year prior. And so if I completed that class, I would be able to become licensed. And so all of these people that was learning makeup from me. So I called them all and I said, listen, we're all going to study together and we're going to get a license. So I started school. They all tried to enter the school and they couldn't because it was a huge list of requirements. And none of them was able to enroll in any program for many reasons. Education background, English, they didn't speak, most of them didn't speak English enough. So to pass the English test. So when I saw them, all of them being turned away, I said, you know what? I can help them. That was when the first school was born, actually. On that day, I was thinking about these people, how much, they loved what they were doing and how much doing makeup, helping people to look their best, helped myself. And I was thinking, you know what, this can help a lot of people. I will open a school. And that was what I had in my mind. I said to myself, listen, Flavia, we're going to do this. And you're not going to get enough students to continue this school. So you're going to have this first class, maybe a second one. And you're not going to be able to get more students because there are not enough people to enroll in that type of school. We were in 2010. My mother passed in 2009, and that was in the beginning of 2010. So people didn't have jobs. A lot of them lost their jobs. And I was telling myself, I'm going to do this. I'm going to have them all become licensed. And then, obviously, I will not get other students, who is going to go to my school? They will go to the school that I went to. It's a small group of people who will not be able to go to these bigger schools. And it was fine with me. I made my plans. I did not have credit because I had to go on bankruptcy, Chapter 13, to keep my house. I was bankrupted. I did not have credit. I did not have money. And I called them and I said, listen, we're going to open this school. I need you to enroll and trust me that this is going to work out. And some of them said, the husbands, not the wives, some of them had the husbands together with them. And they said, what if it doesn't work out? I said, there is no plan B. It has to work out. So I opened my first school in June 2010. I had just became licensed at that time. And so we started. I was the the painter, the cleaner, the receptionist. And the only thing that I wanted to do, I couldn't do, which was teaching. I wanted to teach at my school, and I couldn't do it, obviously, because it was so many other things that I had to do other than teach. So I hired a few teachers. I was always meeting with them to make them understand why we were there for. You know, it was not just about making money. It was not just about, you know, getting a new profession and starting a new business, a new career. It was much more than that. We could change lives through beauty. We could make someone who felt so depressed, make them find a new path, find a new way of living. And that's what I have told them. We are now 4 schools and we have almost 600 students, and we grow consistently over the past 12 years already in business. We we are in 2 states, and all of our teachers, they know what I'm there for. They know what I want them to do, and they have replicated what I've done back then when we had just started, and it's working. And I'm happy to see what we have done in a life of over 10,000 people already.
Wow. Wow, that's remarkable. So tell me something else, Flavia. Are the people that come to your school, are they also immigrants? What's your student body like? What are they comprised of?
Lots of them are Brazilian, but we were approved by the immigration, by CIVAS to offer the I-20. So that happened last year. So we are getting calls from all over the world, and it's been fantastic to see how these people are dreaming now of coming to our school. We have been called international school, and we have translators, machines, headsets that our students from other nationalities can wear when the teacher is teaching in another language. So our Portuguese speakers, when they are in a class with an American teacher teaching, they can wear the headset that will translate simultaneously, as well as when we have a great teacher teaching body treatments or a Colombian teacher teaching a slimming body treatment. You know, we try to get the best that we can from everyone. So we try to bring all of the teachers' specialties to the school and bring them all together in a course. So when a student doesn't speak the same language as the teacher, we have translators, headsets that they can wear. So now, answering your question, we have people from everywhere.
Wow, that's remarkable. So tell me, Flavia, what is next? I mean, you have an unusual and remarkable story, and you keep building. So what's next for you? What direction will you be going in next?
We are writing a book that means a lot to me. And this book will be published before the end of the year, hopefully. We had finished it in March, but then we got 2 beautiful stories that we wanted to add to this book. And this is my next dream coming true, to bring lots of women who nobody know, like they are not known by anybody. Nobody want to hear them. I want to hear them. When they come to our school, our teachers ask them, what's your story? Nobody asked me that question when I was going through hell. I was feeling so depressed and nobody cared.
Go
And
ahead.
nobody, sorry, and nobody cared. I wanted to speak up. I wanted to tell people my story, and nobody and I understand that. Nobody, has, everybody has their own problems, but we are there to hear them, to make them have their life changed. So I started writing this book about 8 years ago, telling the story of many women who have had their lives changed through beauty. Women that were going through divorce and they wanted to kill themselves. And then they found that they could look their best, they could take care of themselves, that it was a way that they could meet people and get out of the house and do different, go back to school, open a business, meet a lot of people with the same thoughts, with this, make friends. We are not just a school, like a school that we go to, we take a few classes and go back home. No, they become friends. We are there to teach them not just a new profession, but to teach them that there is a way out of so many things that we are not happy with. So my next project, and hopefully this is going to happen by the end of this year, is to have this book published, telling the story of thousands of women who, not on this book. This book will tell the story of 19 women that we have met throughout these years through beauty, and that they have wonderful stories to share with many people and help many people with these stories.
Wow. What a gift that will be to so many, many people, especially people who are in similar situations. A lot of women have gone through difficult marriages, divorce, bankruptcy is becoming more common again now too, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so you have that gift of being able to relate to people through difficult times. Flavia, you talk a lot about how beauty helps people build their self-confidence. So talk a little bit about how beauty does that.
Well, when you understand, a lot of people don't like to look at themselves in a mirror. They don't like what they see. And they feel, for some reason, they don't want to do anything to change it. So when they find out that they can look their best and with no regrets, they don't have to feel bad about it. They can treat their skin. They will start getting compliments. Not that we need we do, but we don't want to depend on compliments. But they make us feel so good. From one week to another, you see someone that you haven't seen for a while, and they look at you and say, wow, what did you do? You look so beautiful. Oh my God, that makes us feel so good inside, and that will bring us a smile that sometimes we don't smile for so long, and then it makes us feel good, especially women, men too, but especially us. We like to look good, and sometimes there are just a few changes, a few little things that we can do to look so good, and we learn how to take care of the health of our skin, not just to cover up with makeup, layers and layers and layers of makeup will not make us look good. So since I am an esthetician, I like to teach people how to take care of their health, even drink more water, go talk to the doctor about supplements, And exercise, we talk about that in school. We tell people, go exercise, before you have a test. You study in school, go exercise before you come to take a test. So when you know how to treat yourself, you will know how to treat other people better too. So that's what we give is what we get. So when you feel good, people around you will know, will note that, and that will come back to you. And that's what makes us happy. So that's how I believe that beauty makes a lot of changes.
You know what? Beauty does make changes. And I know for myself, the days where you take time to take care of yourself, myself, I feel so much better. And there's days where you go, okay, I'm in a hurry. There's too much going on. And those days, that's exactly how I end up feeling, rushed, hassled, and not quite together.
Yes. When we exercise, when we drink enough water, when we eat well, we feel better. We can think better. We get the feedback is better, and as we keep giving that, we keep getting that. And that changes a lot of things.
Okay, so I want to ask you one other question. You also talk about the beauty and the fun of being a woman and enjoying those 6-inch heels. Tell me about that, please.
I am more on a natural, on a lower heel side right now. I think we have to, we don't have to be in pain to look good, So I'm more on that side of feeling, better, and wearing lower heels, and, wearing less makeup. Less is more, always. And that's the time of my life. I was on higher heels when I was younger, but not anymore.
Okay. So, Flavia, our time is almost up. What have we missed that you would like our audience to know?
That I went through a lot, that couldn't be said in 25 minutes. But many, many, many people have gone through much worse. And I want to tell them that there is a way out, that there's always a way out. They have to look up, ask God for help, and ask God for them to find the right path.
Look up and ask God for help. I like that. What a beautiful statement that is. Flavia, we will have information about you in our show notes. So those of you who are listening, if you want to get in touch with Flavia, please look at her information in the show notes. And also her book, forthcoming book, is the title of it is what, Flavia?
We don't have a title yet.
Okay. So Flavia's stories.
Yes.
Her stories are coming out soon.
We actually have 4 titles in mind, but we'll finish the book completely before we pick one of them. And I'll be talking a lot about it when time comes, when we are all done with it, because that's my masterpiece. That's going to be something. We'll have more editions, of course, because there are so many stories that have came up after we closed the book. I just added these 2 because they had to be in this first book. And so I'll be talking a lot more about the book soon on my social media, on the website, and so on.
Wonderful. Well, we'll have that information. Stay tuned. We'll hopefully be able to bring you, the reader, the listener of our podcast, information about her book as it comes forth. Flavia, thank you so much for being with us today on Building My Legacy podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. And for those of you who are listening to Building My Legacy podcast, thank you for being with us today. And please remember to visit our website also at buildtomorrow.com with the number 2. And also our newest website, startwithcollaboration.com. So again, Flavia, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
You've been listening to Building My Legacy podcast with Dr. Lois Sonstega. To book your appointment with Dr. Sonstega, visit www.buildtomorrow.com.